Hi friends, it's Lauren. Thank you so much for your support in picking up one of my campaign signs. Whether you have it on your front lawn, your business window, or your apartment porch, I really appreciate you helping get the word out. But one of the things I dislike most about campaign signs is that they wind up sometimes in the trash after the election. So I thought it would be fun, and it also would be really great to make election 2024 more sustainable. So whether you have one of my signs or someone else's sign, I wanted to teach you how to turn your campaign sign into a birdhouse. So let's get started. Okay, let's start off with the things you're gonna need. First, your election sign, mine preferably. Then some zip ties or twist ties. You can use these, or if you have recycled ones from loaves of bread, that'll work too. Leftover string or ribbon. I'm gonna be using some that I've had since our wedding back in 2012. You also need some tape and a utility or craft knife. A ruler or straight edge. This is going to help us cut the election sign. And then a hole punch if you have one. Probably the most important, if you don't want to ruin your countertop, is a durable surface or a bunch of recycled cardboard. As you can see, I have a couple of layers here, so I don't want to be hitting my countertop. So if you're looking at one of my signs, you'll notice that on one side, I've already created a blueprint where you'll be able to cut out and know where to fold. One thing you'll notice when you're on the website at laurenforlafayette.org/birdhouse is that I did need to adjust the size of the roof, as well as spaces for your slits where your string or ribbon will go through, as well as your hole punches that connect the structure of the birdhouse. After we cut out our election sign, you'll have 3 individual pieces: the base structure, the roof, and the floor. So let's start off with cutting out the base structure. So you're gonna start from the lines and just use your straight edge, and while you do your cuts, you wanna cut at a diagonal. So you're gonna have to go in pretty hard, or just go in a number of times to make sure that you get it all the way through. One thing to note too, as you're cutting corners, it's always going to be easiest to kind of bring the blade back to you. So you're going to be moving your sign around a little bit. Now, once you're done cutting out the structure, you'll notice that maybe you might not have gone all the way through. It's not a big deal to just flip your board over and you'll still see the skewer marks, and just go over on the other side, and that will help you get a clean cut. Also notice I have these little rectangles along the bottom. Those are going to be the notches that your floor piece is going to be able to slide into. And then what you do is you'll just pop these out. Okay, this is where we're going to make a little adjustment because our roof size has changed. We have these little slits here. We're actually going to make 2 slits on either side of the center point. So the center on this is really kind of between the T and the Y. So I just need you to make 2 slits on either side here. And you're also going to do it for the other short wall as well. Okay, this is where we're going to cut out the circular holes that the birds will be able to go into. I've put the circles 6 inches above the bottom of the floor. I did a little research, and apparently Lafayette's native scrub jay likes birdhouses where the hole is at that location. So I figured if you kind of do a cross in your circle first, and then go around, and you see these kind of like pop. So you'll see here in the top right corner of the election sign, I've put out a blueprint for, it's pretty much a square with these notched edges. So let's start off with just cutting it out at the furthest side. We'll cut out the large square, and then we'll go in and create the notches, and this will be the floor. Okay, so the easiest way I found to do this is if you kind of just do, again, in that sort of towards you motion. You're gonna do all these little sort of one directions first, then turn your square and do it again, and just keep going all the way around, and then you'll have these 4 little corners you'll be able to pull apart. Okay, this is where we're gonna go back to our sort of main structure piece, the base piece, and we're going to actually use our straight edge to create the corners of the wall. So just on all of these, the 3 lines here, you're gonna take your straight edge and you're just gonna fold it. Okay, this is where we're going to fit our floor piece into the base piece, so the wall piece. So you're gonna sort of stick one side into one of the center notches, and you're gonna fold around. And one thing you'll notice is that you will have this overlap here. That's okay. That's because, you know, measurements happen with the production. So what we're gonna have to do is just make a little bit adjustment with our sides. We're gonna trim where that piece is. You'll still be able to see where the holes are, and then we'll create our punches right, or sort of like to the left of them. And you're gonna create 3 punches in each one of these spots. There you go. And again, you'll do the same thing on the other side, but just a little bit further than where the red dot is because of the adjustment that we just made. All right, now take your floor piece, wrap it with your walls. You have your zip tie, bring this other wall up. You might have a little gap here, not a big deal. And you're going to thread your zip tie through. Okay, so now that we have everything assembled, the base is assembled, looking good, we're gonna go back to the roof. We're actually gonna use the peaks to guide us, and we're going to actually just make this whole rectangle our roof. Pretty easy peasy. Okay, now that we've cut out our roof, you'll see this is all that's left for our trash. So instead of throwing out an entirely large election sign, this is the only trash that we're throwing out. Good job. Okay, now that we have our roof and our structure, we're going to determine how this roof is gonna sit. So we're gonna sort of center the roof down, and we're going to fold it down. So what you wanna do is actually wanna see where the top of the shortened roof is and where that lands along the roof piece. And you're gonna want to have 2 slits that are in the general proximity of the top of the roof, because we're gonna be threading our string or ribbon through there. Now that we have that center peak, we're gonna do 2 slits in the top where the bend is, and this is where our ribbon's gonna come out, and that will help us create the handle and the extra ribbon that we need in order to get the roof up and down. Okay, so I've determined it is about here, so I have created 2 slits. And then just like with all of our cuts that we've done today, if you need to flip it over and just go back on the other side to make sure that it goes all the way through, you can do that here. Okay, you've also done on the other side, and this is where you're gonna wanna just go in and kind of just loosen it up and make sure that you have a nice little gap in between that you'll be able to get a ribbon in once we start threading. Okay, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I'm reusing ribbon from our wedding. Aubergine purple is my favorite color, as you probably have seen on my website and my campaign materials. And I'm going to use a little bit of tape to create an aglet. That is that little doohickey at the end of your shoelaces. That's what it's called. And we're going to use that to help us kind of thread through the birdhouse structure. Okay, so this is how we're gonna thread. We're gonna start from inside the birdhouse. We're gonna come out through the wall. We're gonna go up through the roof, over, back down the other side, back into the structure. Okay, now that we're back inside, we're gonna come up, over, and around the roof. So now we're gonna come back in and around on the other side. So we're gonna go through the wall, up through the roof, over and across, and back into the wall again. And this last section, once you're out of the roof, you're gonna go through the structure, make a knot, and voila. Now go in, you can adjust all of your ribbons so it's nice and tight. Make sure it's nice and tight, but then also throughout the way, just make sure that you have a good amount at the top. And there you have it, here's your birdhouse. Just pull your strings, make some adjustments, whether you're using my campaign signs or someone else's. Thank you so much for being an engaged voter. That's what our democracy is all about.